Just tuning in, we'd like to welcome you to the Global Network with your host Keith Harris right here on HotlineRadio.net. With us right now, we have CEO of Honor Class Music in the building on the line with us, Leora Tallent. How you doing, Leora?
Hi, but I'm only the CEO. I'm the co-CEO.
Okay, I apologize. Co-CEO. I always forget to say that. Do forgive me.
It's alright.
All right. So first of all, how you doing?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. As a matter of fact, I'm doing wonderful. So before we get into to the honor class music scenario, you are also a photographer, correct?
Yes, I am. I also own Goddess of Light Studios. So I've been doing Goddess of Light since 2002.
Okay. And how did you get into the whole photography profession?
I actually started taking photos for a family member and their friends because I have been involved in the Missouri Council of the Blind since I was about 6 years old. My grandfather, as well as 3 of my great aunts, are albino.
Okay.
And that comes with eye issues.
Okay.
They put the camera in my hand when I was 10. They said, well, really, go take pictures, and that's what I did.
All right. So how have you, I'm assuming you're enjoying doing that. Like, what is, when you do your photography, how do you feel your picture and kind of what to direct? Like, if you're taking pictures of an artist or a person in general, or if you're taking a picture of maybe just the land, what kind of essence or what kind of feeling do you try to capture?
It has to, I see it before I ever take the photo. I can actually see the actual photo. And as for with the artist, I don't try to capture them. I want to bring out their true personality.
Okay. So it just kind of depends on the mode and maybe what's going on and just the general feel at the time, kind of expressive.
Basically, it's just one of those things. If it doesn't hit your eye right, I don't do it.
Okay. So you know right off the gate. Now are you a lot of times you see the photographers and they're like, the camera's flashing and they're like, okay, give me some of this and give me some of that. Come on, let me see this, let me see that. Is that you?
No, that is not me. I am very natural.
Okay. So you just kind of you give the photographer, you give the person or whatever, the person you're taking pictures of, you just kind of let them do what they feel almost. And
oh, definitely. You might give a little direction as, okay, let's stand over here, maybe hold your hand like this, but by the time you're actually into it, you're having so much fun with it, it just flows.
Oh, okay. Now, I don't want to ask you to yell or anything like that, but can you talk a little louder or?
Is this better?
Okay, yeah, that's a little bit better. That's fine. That'll do it. All right, so let's. Okay, now to start out, to talk about the music a bit. Now, you're co-CEO of Honor Class. Was that your first venture? Like, how did you get into the music in general? Was it the love of music itself, or how'd you get into it?
Well, I've always loved music. I've been in choir, whatever had to do with the musical part. And I actually got involved into the labels because I was dating an artist at the time. And I was doing everything for him. I was like, wait a minute, I can do this myself. And I ended up becoming the exclusive photographer for another label, which ended up being an interesting situation.
Okay.
But in the process of this experience, I met Buzz the Navigator, which we had on the show not too long ago.
Right.
And so he and I were sitting there talking, and as a mutual love for music, as well as business sense, we decided to team up, and we created Honor Class Music.
Okay. Now, when you did that, so you and Buzz kind of run Honor Class Music together.
Yes, correct.
Okay. Now, when you guys brought that venture on, Do you have other now? Okay, so I'm assuming Buzz is an artist on that label as well. Like you say, we had him on the show not too long ago, with some of his music.
Yes, Buzz is definitely our top artist. He actually has like very talented R&B singer by the name of Justice.
Right.
He's been working with her, so as our companies are coming together, but of course you're always looking for new talent.
Okay. And you guys, you're in St. Louis currently, right?
Yes, correct.
Okay. Now, how easy or difficult, because I know you got your good days and your bad days, but what is it, kind of give the people an idea, what is it like to be the co-CEO of the company, because you're doing tons of work. I know you got some strenuous days, right?
That is definite, because you still have your real life work as well. So when you're watching these movies say that your life is going to change as soon as you get that piece of paper, that is complete and total fairy tale. Because it is a lot of hard, long days and nights. A lot of doors are slammed in your face. A lot of red tape as well.
Right. And then, I guess with being running the company now, as well as paperwork, because we know, like you say, you go through a lot of red tape and trying to close deals and paperwork. How is it with just artists, preparing artists and things of that nature, because you obviously deal with that too.
Oh yeah, you play phone tag with a lot of people during your day too.
Yeah.
Including trying to stay in contact with your artists, and of course you have to stay in contact with producers, your beat makers. You have to do the studio time. You have to book the shows. It's not as easy as people would think it is.
Right. Well, now, what's the best part about, to you, the part that you like the most about being co-CEO of Honor Class itself?
Well, obviously the music part of it. When you have that much love for music, to know that you are a part of making a dream come true.
Uh-huh. Now, and you also at the same time, you have children as well, and I'm sure that takes its toll. Because hey, family and kids come first. So how do you manage? How do you do that? Like, how do you plan out juggling your day? Or
well, luckily for me, my children are now pretty much grown at this point. My sons are 19 and 17.
Okay.
Of course, they have a love of music too, so they just think it's cool what mom's doing.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. So they actually probably pretty happy. They're at the age that they can enjoy the music as well. They can give you input and things of that nature. And it gives you a way to kind of keep up with what's going on too, because hey, if your kids are listening to it, then you kind of know what's going around.
Oh, definitely. Like Buzz says, you got to listen to the streets to see what's hot, what people want. And of course, luckily for me, I have teenage sons, so I have that little advantage, I guess you would say.
Uh-huh.
Because that is definitely the group you want to target. You want to target the youngest generation because they're going to be the older fans as well.
Right. That is a very good point right there. Which has a lot to do with so now you guys kind of not really necessarily target, because at the same time, if there's someone that is a little older than the younger generation, which is a question I want to ask now. Let's say that an artist is not as young, as maybe the younger generation is coming up, but they're still talented. They make good music. They got fans. Do they still qualify, as someone that can possibly be underneath the label?
Most definitely. Music has no age limit.
Okay.
As long as you're willing to go in there, you put in the time, you put in the effort, and you're taking it seriously, because that's exactly what it is. It's not a joke. It's not fun and games. You are going to work hard. Hey, we have no problem. I don't care if you are 8 or 80.
Right. As long as, right, like you say, as long as the work ethic is there.
Right.
Now, do you find, and I ask you this because you're at the top, of the brass in your company, being co-CEO. Now, do you get as many older people? Like, is equal for the amount of younger people that you get coming to you trying to get signed or get contracts, does it equal out compared to the people that are a little older? And I say that because I don't really know what the age limit is, and I don't want to try to figure one out and discourage anybody out there. So when we talk about the younger generation that'll make the future and the older generation, but in other words, is it versatile? Do you get all different ages that come to you?
For the most part, I do, but I am noticing more of a pattern where the age limit seems to be running anywhere from 18 to 26.
Oh, okay. Okay. And it is all different types of artists. I mean, do you just get hip hop artists, or do you get all kinds of artists, or?
So far, I've mainly been getting hip hop. I would love to get a few good R&B, especially the male R&B, because of the fact those voices are so rare and few behind each other now. It's nice to find a new one. I want to find, matter of fact, one of my favorites you had on not too long ago, Montel Jordan.
Right.
Someone along the line. And I don't know if anybody really remembers him or not, because he used to be a backup singer for Mariah Carey, but like Trey Lorenz.
Oh man, Trey Lorenz, yeah. Yeah.
The voices, they were so unique and so strong. And there's actually another gentleman who's coming up with, he's known to get he's not. He's from the West Coast, and I would love to be able to work with him at some point. His name is L. Young.
Okay.
And I saw him on Facebook, and that voice blew me away. But I know there are more talents like that maybe they are older, and they're thinking, okay, I'm too old to do this. That's nonsense. You can do anything you want to do.
I agree. And to read back on what you said earlier, a lot of great voices are out there, but it's a little, it's more difficult for them to be heard. Now, here's a question. This might be a tough one, but answer it if you can. Now, years ago, labels were and label execs were, it was going crazy. They were out, the talent was out. You could walk into the label, you could send your music on a tape. There was a lot of different ways to reach out to the label execs. Nowadays, I don't really see it like that, and that's just from my perspective. I don't really see that happening as much. You got 4, 5, maybe 6 main people, and then it's like a lot of the execs are sitting down and they're just letting that run the industry. What is the difference now with how many people could actually go out and talk to execs and try to find a deal, as to now it's just so hard to even get anybody to notice you?
One thing I had noticed when I was originally getting into this, and I was hoping someone tried to get a deal, the big boys, I guess you would say, now, they want the artist to basically front everything. The days of, here is your advance, let's see what you can do, they're pretty much over at this point. Because of the fact you do have so many of these artists, they go into it thinking, oh, it's time to party, which it's not. And so that does make it more difficult for the artists who are serious about their craft. Okay. Now, as for what you're saying, why exactly the executives, they have gotten to the point where they don't work as hard because they have figured out the artists are so hungry for the break, they're going to do anything. So they sit back and they wait for them to do all the work, and they pretty much go into the glory, which is not right, but it does happen.
But it happens. And that's what really just kind of made me ask that question, because there's so many independent artists. As you know, I play independent music on this show, and just like you spoke about yourself, there's a lot of talent out there, and I only hear a few people. I hear, you hear different people come out, but it's just not as wide range. And I think I think there's a struggle almost to the point where I kind of feel like independent music had to really create its own path inside. I mean, the big labels are out there, but I mean, let's be honest, the independent labels for a few years now have really been doing their own thing. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong.
No, you're correct.
So yeah, so you know that's how that goes. Now, to jump off into another subject, also as well, you also studied in mass communications, correct?
Yes, I did. I have an associate.
Oh, okay. And obviously, you put that knowledge forth towards, you know, your profession with the label as well, right?
Correct.
Okay. And how does it work for you? Does it pan out for you? Is there a door forward in the industry with you, or?
It is definitely a very helpful thing, especially the business classes that I have taken as well.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So, you know, it just, mass communications is just that. It can be anywhere from radio to television, just all kinds of different mediums that are played into that. And it does help with this particular business because you have to know a little bit about everything.
Right. Now, when you are, what are there any show dates coming up? You guys have any shows coming out, or the artists that you're on your label? I know you're saying Buzz is the main artist. What can we expect from Honor Class Music in the upcoming future?
Well, after the first 2 years when things are really going to start popping for Honor Class, we have a couple shows that we are in the process of trying to line up now, which will be, one will be in Macon, Missouri, as supposed to be around February. Still working out on the details for that.
Okay.
We had an opportunity to do a show with Bone Crusher on the 2nd, but unfortunately due to conflict of scheduling, that one's not going to happen.
Okay.
So basically what we're doing now is just trying to build everything, get the reputation going, and just make some noise.
Right. Now also, now let me ask a question, like with to talk about one of your artists, or one of the artists, your co-partner, Buzz and Navigator, for instance. Can we expect any albums or anything like that? I know he was on the other day, but just to know from you, can we expect maybe an EP in the future or something coming up?
Oh, definitely. Mr. First Class, that's going to be coming out soon. He's actually getting ready to go back into the studio. He's been working with a producer who has experience with Pretty Willie's, name is Heavy Trap.
Uh-huh.
So, along with him, and of course the producer he already has, a very talented guy, his name is Storm from Infamous Entertainment. So definitely be looking for Mr. First Class. Okay.
Now, what else? What other ventures are you gonna? I know you're sold down and you're stuck. You're sticking with your team and Honors Class Music. Any future plans coming up with you guys? Because I know you're based in St. Louis now, right?
Yes, we are.
Okay. Any plans to head off and to head anywhere else or hit any other cities, or are you guys just kind of you're happy right in St. Louis right now?
I think for right now we need to build in St. Louis because of the fact there isn't anyone like us. And the last time anything big really came out of the St. Louis area was Nelly and the St. Lunatic.
Right.
So got to put the STL back on the map again.
Yeah, and you know what? And STL has a lot of artists. I mean, they got mad talent down there. So that's a big deal. So I feel like you guys' pickings should be pretty hefty, when it comes to pulling artists onto the label itself, because I mean there's so many people down there that are hungry and want to get on. What advice would you have for people anywhere, not just in St. Louis, but anywhere that are trying to get noticed by a label like yourselves?
Advice I would have: one, don't give up. Just because we haven't found you doesn't mean we won't.
Okay.
Two, remember, you're also a professional, and you are your own brand. So conduct yourself that way. If you really want it, put yourself out there correctly. Make sure you're putting in the time with the studio, the correct time. Make sure you're actually coming out with good music. Don't try to sound like everybody else. That's one thing I have a pet peeve right now with music. All the artists are starting to sound just like each other.
Yeah. You know, and I hear so many people say that, and I kind of feel the same way. Like, the beats are pretty much the same. And I mean, hey, don't get me wrong, because, you know, hip hop music will live on forever. We glad it's still around, and generations change. And so, you know, at the same time, like, you know, you got to respect the new and what's going on with them, because it's like, you know, back in the day, I know my parents used to be like, well, y'all music don't sound right and this and that. And I'm like, man, you know, and I guess now later on, I used to catch myself saying that, and I had to stop and remember, you know what I'm saying, that times change. But times can still change, like you say, without everybody trying to feel the same. But again, that leads me back to the whole stereotype of, I'm just curious, is that I feel like that's what some of these artists think that they have to do in order to get noticed. So maybe everybody's afraid of being different. I don't know. Like,
I would agree with that. You know, if you know it works for somebody else, you're going to do it too, as opposed to going out there, be different, be yourself, because that is the one thing. The unknown is scary. But I don't want to be like everybody else. So
right.
I'm going to be the one standing out there trying to be completely and totally different from everybody else.
Right.
And I recommend that for any other artist, because of the fact that is the artist that gets remembered, is the one who did not sound like somebody else. Yeah, you may sound like the next person, but how long are you going to be standing there? Because when that phase is over, so are you. Now, if you were different and you came out, you did your thing, people are going to remember you.
Right. And so it's okay to, you know, so if you know, artists came to you guys and they weren't talking about you know, the ice and the rims and, you know, and the popping this and the popping that, and, you know, I'm hitting everybody else's girl and all that kind of stuff right there. It's yeah. You know, even if people come to you guys with good music and they're not talking about that stuff, it's still considered a plus. Right.
Okay. I didn't quite hear you.
I said, so even with like what you all, for instance, so an artist can come to you guys and not be talking about all that same stereotypical stuff and still at least, you know, possibly be looked at or be heard, or at least it's a plus in their direction.
Oh, definitely.
Okay.
Because once again, you know, that's the thing about hip-hop. If you think about it, when hip-hop was great hip-hop,
right.
I'm going to probably date myself when I start saying this, but think about it. The legends are no longer with us. That's like...
Right. You're right, as a matter of fact.
Pac. You know, Biggie and Pac, they told about their life.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And to this day, we still love them. That's why, because they told us a story. Now, it wasn't all about, let's go party, let's do this, let's do that. They actually have a message.
You know what? And that's that you know, what you just said is a real powerful statement. I mean, and a lot of people get me confused sometimes when I kind of point that out, in the difference in music now and back then. It is not at all to shun the music of nowadays, because like I say, time goes on and everybody enjoys what they enjoy. I don't knock that. I'm all for it. But we don't have enough. Now, there are underground artists who do that. There are still a few. But when it comes to the mainstream artists and the people that's really getting the airplay, there's not many, if any, at all that I really hear that are doing exactly just like you said, like those artists back in the day who told a story about life. So when you listen to their songs, you could feel the struggle, or you felt the pain, or you felt the relationship or the emotion, and you could relate to it.
Exactly.
Right.
Because 9 times out of 10, whatever that song was about, somebody could say, hey, I'm going through that right now.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly right. You know, and a lot of times now, who can really say that they're going, like, it's almost like with music nowadays, you have to actually already be an artist, you know, to even relate to what's going on, because it seems like most artists are just talking about their lives as an artist. You know, so that's a big difference. So, you know, so it's good that everybody hears you really put that out there and let that, you know, kind of be known from more of an executive position, that there is still room for kind of being yourself, and there is still room for sharing your stories, and people can really appreciate that, and because that gives other people out there hope and lets them know that they can be leaders and not followers, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a big deal. Now, okay, before we go, let's find out, like, let everybody out there know where they can go to find you, where artists can, you know, if they can find ways to send you their music, or where they can go to social media and websites and check you guys out, and plug Buzz the Navigator and everything he's got coming up to, or Mr. First Class, should I say?
Well, you can always find Buzz at rebuzznation.com/BuzzTheNavigator. He also has an app you can pull up as well. You can find myself on Facebook as well as Twitter. I am at Leora Tallent. You type me in, I'll come right up. I'm the only one.
Okay. And if I and like I say, a lot of people out there listening, a lot of the artists, I mean, there's, you know, quite a few independent artists I know myself, and people out there, you know, not only are they paying attention, but also as well, if I notice anything, or if I notice anyone that, you know what I'm saying, that might have something you guys are looking for, are creative, new, fresh, talented, as well as performer, because that's also important too, right? Like, you want someone who's able to perform and be able to put on a show, and not just be on stage with just the words coming out, unless it's poetry.
Oh, definitely. You have to be able to own that stage as well.
Yeah, that's a big deal right there, and I think a lot of people you know, realize that has to come with it too, because it's easy to sit home and write lyrics, and then kind of spit them. But when it comes to those lights and that action, and those lights come on, and it's like 90 degrees on stage, and all them people staring at you, that's a big deal, right?
Yeah, it is. I have done underneath the stage lights many times. They are hot. You can't really see people, but you know that they have paid their money to come see you, so they want to see you entertain them. Right.
So you got to kind of just zone out. Like you say, they behind the lights, and the lights in your eyes, so you just kind of zone out. And, you know, sometimes sometimes performers have to just pretend like they're there to buy their sales, and just turn up the show.
Oh, yeah. Well, when I did perform, normally what I would do, I'd find one person, like I'd have one friend sitting close to me, and I'd pretty much focus on them, or a group of people, that it was so much easier to find somebody else to focus on as opposed to everyone else out there. Mm-hmm. Because after a while, the lights, they are so hot, and they do get a little bit, I guess you say they will make you dizzy because they blind you so much.
Right. And, you know, that's good advice. I've heard that before. Like, you know, that's good advice for some people out there that might be getting ready to start performances, is to focus on that one person and just do the best you can and putting the show to them, because you might look at somebody who got a happy face, and then you look 2-3 hours over, and 2 or 3 people over there frowning at you, and then you get confused and start to second guess if you're doing a good job, and that can throw you off.
Yeah, that will definitely throw you off, and that you don't want to have a sense of nerves to that type of negativity to begin with, because you're not going to pull your full ability into it if you're thinking, oh wow, they're not digging me.
Right, absolutely. All right. Now, but before we go, we want to let you know, on behalf of myself and Hotline Radio, we do thank you for coming, you know, stopping by to talk to us today. Now, also, make sure you come back and let us know what else is going on. And when you can, let's get Justice in here too.
All right, we'll make sure that we get that done.
Yeah, that sounds like a plan, because you know, that, you know, I got lucky enough for you to send me a track from her before, and that was a wonderful track. So it'd be good to get her on the show. So, as co-CEO, please set that up, Leora.
Yes, sir.
Okay. You know, and again, we thank you for coming back, and we hope to hear from you soon. Again, everybody, make sure you go find Leora Tallent on the social networks. Be checking out for her events on the Keith Harris Show, or the Global Network with Keith Harris as well. And my social media sites, and of course, we rotating on here all the time, so make sure you check out the music. And Leora, again, we thank you for having us, for being with us today. And you guys are an hour behind out there, right?
I'm sorry, I didn't quite hear you.
I said you guys are an hour behind out there. It's like it's 6 here. It's just after 6 here, so it's like just after 5 there, right?
Right.
Yeah, so it's like getting ready to be rush hour. People getting off work. It's busy time there, ain't it?
Yes, it is. This is a crazy time, and if you've ever been on the Missouri road, and I don't care what part of Missouri you're in, that is like demolition time at times.
All right. Well, we're gonna let you get out of here and go take care of your stuff. We know you trying to get in and get relaxed and eat for the evening time. So we thank you for stopping by, and I will talk to you soon, Leora.
Yes, sir. Thank you for inviting me.
No doubt. All right, we'll talk to you soon.
Talk to you soon. Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye.
You're listening to